Okay, now we're live, and I realized that I need to keep my face very close to the screen. Just in case you missed a memo, I did like quite possibly my best life ever on my other Instagram account, and the entire video pretty much had no audio. And I realized because Instagram was trying to like fit in my face, and it just cancels all the music. So when life gives you a lemon, just make tequila shot and get on with life. Anyways, so what I want to talk about today is all about possibilities. So when I was reflecting the last 2 years, especially all the big changes and where all the transition and shift happens, what the key difference or the one of the main components that made it happen apart from mindset was obviously to see that as a possibility. So how I think about it is when you look back, in terms of dreams, let's go back and think about the time when you were watching Disney shows or when you're watching like Marvels, if that's your favorite. Growing up as a kid, when you watch the TV, it almost feels like the people in the TV is different from us. It's like they're in their own world, and that is just the dream, and it's almost impossible. Like it's just not possible for us. And I think that many of us kind of see the path less taken or your dream life as like a TV or a movie show. Instead of seeing that as an unachievable or not seeing that it's possible, see it as something, focus on the TV show and picture yourself as the main character of the TV show and how you're able to make that possible. Because I know, coming from an Asian upbringing, I'm just speaking from my own experience, is obviously, our parents work hard. Well, my parents work hard to give me the best life possible and try to give me what they didn't have. So from their point of view, they have played it safe. They have done what is taught to them. They went to university, they went through, getting like the corporate ladder, get a good job, and now they're able to give us a good life. So from our point of view, they want the same for us because that's what parents want for the kids. And that's the only thing they know. Plus, our brain is naturally wired for survival, for looking out for needs, for safety, for comfort. So unless we actively try to rewire that, or rewire for success, or rewire for achieving the impossible, then we're automatically going to want to fall back the comfort zone. And every time, if you notice that you are going to take some sort of like big action, trying to quit your job, trying to start the business, trying to take 3 months off work, you have all this fear coming back because that's what your brain is it's used to doing since you were born. So that is something really important to think about, because when I think about the pivotal moment was obviously October 2017, because that's when I went to Bali for the first time in 10 years. And that's where I decided to really go forward with my business to become a digital nomad. And what made that possible was because I was actually in the co-working space listening to one of the greatest mentor in my life, Chris Thompson. If you've consumed my content, you would have known that I spoke about him all the time. I remember him was talking there, and he was like, he was a Stanford grad. He has done like works being an expat in Singapore, in Japan. So he has lived a life, and he was like an Ivy League graduate. And here he is singing in a co-working space made out of bamboo with monkeys outside. And, he was explaining like what are the options beyond the usual corporate. And because I have spoken to someone that has done it like right in front of me at that time, I was like, wow, maybe this is entirely possible for me. Because at that time I already have like freelance clients which I'm already working with, and I just told them like, hey, I'm going to Bali for a week, can I like just take my work with me? Before that, I didn't even entertain the idea that I can work anywhere, because none of my friends decide to do that. All my friends are corporate people, having great jobs. We hang on Friday nights. If I tell them that I want to go to like work out of a co-working space with the monkeys somewhere in the jungle, they're going to go like, the fuck, So they've been like, oh, are you sure? So from that point, if I look back, back in the day, someone told me that I'm going to get a co-working space in the middle of a jungle, I probably go like, you must be kidding me. So that is an example of how until we see the possibility and believe that it's possible, it really isn't like, it's not like you're not going to be able to chase towards that. So to give you guys to put into another different context. So for example, I have this dream of like completing a 40K marathon because it looks cool for whatever reason it is. But if I don't believe that it is possible at all, then I would just like, well, I'm not even going to train for it because there's no way I'm going to hit it. So it's just a waste of time. So a lot of the dream life was like, we see people doing this, but in our head, I'm like, that's not real. That's not true. I don't think I can do it. And until you see the possibility and believe in that possibility, you're not going to really achieve, like you're not going to work towards that, or you're not even going to try. And it's so much easier to just fall back into comfort, into routine, because that's what you're known for, because that's what your brain is used to, because that's what your subconscious mind is used to. And if you're happy and content with that, completely fine. But if you're not, if you feel like something is missing and you feel like you're always stuck, like, you have everything that you wanted, you have a great job, you have a great house, you have whatever, and you don't feel like you are actually, like you don't feel like you're fulfilled in what you do, then it's probably time for you to reconsider like your current situation. Ask yourself the question, is this the life that you want to live? Like, is that something that you're going to be happy doing 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? If it's not, what do you want to do? What would light your soul up? What would make you excited? What would make you feel fulfilled? And then once you ask yourself the question, think about, don't think about whether it's possible, and then let it sit for a while, and then start thinking, dreaming beyond what's possible. Imagine like, you're in Disney or whatever it may be, and go from there. Because most of the time we are so like, what we think is possible is based on the beliefs that we have been fed as we were growing up, whether it's from environment, whether it's from our parents, society, friends, or people that we hang around with. And sometimes the stuff of content we consume from television and from movies also somehow form our belief of what is possible and what is impossible. And I'm again speaking from my own upbringing, from the Asian culture. And don't get me wrong, I'm Chinese, super proud to be a Chinese, and I do attribute like some of my a big part of my success from the Asian traits. But there are also different belief that has been really ingrained in my mind that I had to work really hard to rewire my brain. I mean, even if you see TV shows, the dream life is having big cars, marrying the rich guy, like successful, having like 5 houses and all that stuff. And if you do anything outside of that, you're almost like a lost cause. You're not even successful. And if you tell them about the digital nomad life, you're essentially homeless because, well, I don't have a fixed home, right? So that is a way to see that. And if I believe that is all I can achieve, even though deep down I'm like, I just want to explore, I want to experience life in different countries, I want to live the simple life. But because of what I was told, my friendship circle, what my parents have told me, what I've been brought up with is within this bubble, anything beyond that is just, I don't know, like dream, or it's not possible. And if it's not possible, you're like, well, I'm just going to dream it and I'm never going to work towards it. What is possible is for me to keep climbing the ladder and keep growing, getting better pay so I can buy my second house, or like I can buy my next car and just continue on to your 60 and retire. If you're content and happy with that, cool. But are you really? So that's something to, first of all, to really ask yourself if that's something that you're happy with. If it's not, what you can do about it. Because one of the things that I thought about today, if your bank account, if your job title and your bank account is the only thing that's growing in your life, it really is time to reassess that. Because basically the only possibility that you have in your mind at the moment is like literally this, not even birds, is it bird's eye view? No. So literally just this tunnel view of what's possible. Okay, I have a job. If I don't have this job, I'm going to move to my next job. Next job is going to pay for whatever it is that I need. And then that's all I have. And then I go for my 4 weeks holiday. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids. And that's life. Guys, you're only looking at this tunnel vision based on what's fed to you from a child, from the movie you see. So have you imagined, what if you really just expand this by a little bit? You don't need to go to like a complete bird's eye view. But what if you went from a tunnel to just a little bit more? Tell me, like how much possibility can you open up if you have just open up a little bit. So essentially now you're looking at that. So all the possibilities at the moment, they're all in your blind spot. You know how ridiculous that sounds? And I know that because I have been through that. You know, there are different occasions, like obviously until I was actually in Bali, I didn't even think of, well, digital nomad was an option. And if I circle back to my corporate days where I've already started, you know, blogging, and I have one of the earliest blog in the beauty space back in 2008. So I started before like people like Chloe Morello and Lauren Curtis started the YouTube channel. So I used to get invited to events where they did. But at that time, because I was an accountant, that's all I knew. That's all I was familiar with. And everyone was like, you know, you're going to do your CA because that's what's going to help you climb the corporate ladder. And I was aspired to climb the corporate ladder at that time. So that's all I knew. So even though I had all the resources, I had all the knowledge to really build a successful internet business back then, it wasn't even in my realm of possibilities. So sometimes you already have everything you need, but you never go for it because in your head, it's not possible when you already have everything you need to start a business. And I know people that already have a successful business think that, well, I can't quit my job because I need to wait till I get a payout. I need to wait till I have 5 years of income saved up. You already have the business. It's mind-boggling because I know that because I have been through that. And I did the blogging thing for about 5 years, and that's how I learned my marketing skills. And from there, I didn't even entertain the idea of starting a business until my last job, where I was managing a small company. And my then boss and a mentor has showed me the possibility of running a business. He was explaining how, that's the first time I think wow, rich people are so smart with the taxes. And, because they find ways to distribute their income to maximize their return, because they see it as a possibility. And for us, if we just have a 9-to-5 job, and I was an accountant and I didn't even think about it that way. All I think was okay, I'm going to get my job and I'm going to try to claim as much return as possible. And that's it. Whereas from an entrepreneur point of view, like my boss, he was like, no, that's how you kind of structure your business. I've learned so much from him. He was 72 and he started a business, a passion business with his wife, teaching travel sketching. I mean, wow, would you have thought travel sketching is a lucrative business? So did I. And I was like, wow. And they spent 6 months in south of France, and that is a tax deductible expense. I was like, fuck. Wow. And, just talking to him has opened my eyes to possibilities of what is possible and what can be achieved if we stop seeing in a tunnel vision and expand it a little bit. Speak to people that is outside of your circle. Speak to people that has actually done something crazy besides the 9-to-5, going for Friday night drinks and all that. And I'm not dissing that kind of people because I have been there and I was stuck in that, and I would not even dare to dream because, again, in the Asian culture, dreaming is a negative connotation. Be realistic about your dream. My grandparents, my parents work hard. So obviously, I work hard too. But the idea is you work hard to just not to lose. You don't work hard to achieve something bigger that you have in your mind. And I believe that every one of us has a fire within us, whether it's to change the world, whether it's to save the animals, to save the planet, to create something. We all have them, but we have learned to suppress them because of, what is good, what is acceptable, what makes us cool. And it's time to really get inside and tap into that. And, I think I'm really fortunate that I have met mentors along the way that has really opened my eyes up through different possibilities. That mentor of mine has opened up my eyes to actually wanting to start my business. And that was the first time where I decided that I wanted to start my own business. So I did then. And even then, from there, before I went to Bali in October 2017, I always thought that I wanted to have a successful business and have a swanky office in Sydney. I was working out of a co-working space before I went to Bali. Why did I have that idea? Because that was the only thing that I know. That was the only thing that I knew. My business was already digital, but I didn't even know digital nomad was a thing at that time. So you never know. You don't know what you don't know. And so that is an example of that. And until I was in Bali, everything was possible. Until I went to Hong Kong for a work trip, I was like, holy shit, this whole marketing to China is a whole different things. And, you know, as I grow and different things that have came through my life has opened up opportunities, I get to learn more about myself. And, you know, for those of you who are watching right now, I just want you to start thinking of the possibilities. Don't you think it's a bit ridiculous on how we think it's not possible for us to achieve something bigger? But say if we go to work late and we get fired, or if we get made redundant and all that shitty things, it's all within our possibility because it all happened to someone that we know throughout our lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy because that's something that I also I'm trying to reprogram my mind for. As you know, as you build business, as you grow, the dreams or the vision that you have should expand as you grow. And I mean, don't know what's going on there, but as we grow, the vision should grow along with you. So for me, now that I know how to start a business, now I know how to go remote, the next big impossible possibility that I have is I want to run global events around the world. So think about a combination between Brene Brown and Tony Robbins. Probably not as big scale as Tony Robbins, but it's something like Tony Robbins, but Brene Brown, but a global scale event. Like right now I think about it, it almost seems like impossible because, well, that thing is like how do I even get started? But that is a vision. I want to run events like that. I also want to run events where there are a big Asian population, because I think that there's so many like Asians, like women especially, they have so much talent, there's so much potential in them, but somehow they suppress them because we're told that we have to be proper, prim and proper. By the way, I love my culture, I love my people, but there's some, you know, things that I just don't agree with, and I'm all about breaking the rules. I'm all about asking the questions to see what's possible. And this is, I guess, the thought-provoking question for you guys. It's not even that hard. It's just to allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to see what's possible, and think about it. If I aim for a global event and it didn't happen and I managed to have it in like 10 countries in the world, hey, that's still pretty sweet than having to only, like, I don't know, be working a 9-to-5 job. So that is, I think that is one of the key to really making changes. And I think that before you want to work on your limiting beliefs, you first have to believe it's possible. Otherwise, fear doesn't mean anything, because you would have no fear because you don't even think that it's within your possibility. Another example of that would almost be like, okay, so there's a super hot, okay, this is probably relatable for me anyways. It's like, you know how many times you don't go up to a bar or when you see like a super hot guy because you think that the guy's out of your league, and essentially it's really the shit that we put in our head, and because we see that it's not a possibility, we just literally cock block ourselves. And that's the same with your dream life. And, you know, over time, like, you know, as I grow, as I get to know myself a lot better, and I was like, fuck, how many times have we put our dreams, people, on pedestal when it's made possible by how much we want to make it possible? So this is essentially what I'm trying to put out there for you guys, to start thinking around areas like that. And the whole reason why I decided to share this story is because I finally opened up the waitlist for the Journey to Being You group coaching program or group coaching experience. And what I'm trying to do with that is to really bring out what I've learned in the last last 2 years, from October 2017, because what Bali has shown me was the possibility of, like, digital nomad, like possibility of living this like conscious life. Like Bali to me Bali has a huge place in my heart because it shows me the possibility of so many things. The first time in life, I started reevaluating like my life choices, because when I see the locals, they had so little, but they're so happy. What else? And yeah, the whole digital nomad life. And from there, they show me the possibility of being able to work from anywhere, a safe place for me to be who I am. That's also another important element of my transformation, is that the people that I met, especially my first month of my digital nomad life in January last year, I felt like for the first time, I didn't have to justify who I was. I didn't have to throw in that I was a chartered accountant that decided to go figure out life. People ask me what I do. I'm like, to be honest, I'm just here figuring out life. And I had no problem being myself. It was so refreshing. And because of that, I have learned to dive a lot deeper, to look within. And from there, it opens my eyes up to spirituality. And now I am spiritual as fuck. But basically, what I'm saying is Bali to me is so special because it shows me all the possibilities of things that I never thought was possible. And the Journey to Being You group coaching program really wants to bring out that part of things as well, where, you know, like to show you what's possible and most importantly, make you believe in them, because I can believe all the things that are possible for you, but until you really believe in them, there really isn't, like, it's like there's no way that you can work towards that. And with Chris Thompson, he's like another mentor of mine, and if you have heard me spoke about from other part of my content, is like I speak about him all the time, is because when I spoke to him after that the half day session with him, I was like, wow, this might be an opportunity. Maybe I'll do it once. Like I'll dig out the email that I sent him and show it to you guys. Like I said, I'll do it when I can't remember what it is. And that's something that we do because we don't believe it's possible until we hit like A, B, and C checklists that, I don't know, you created. So that's what I did. And he goes, no, you're already way ahead of a lot of people. And he really pushed me to move to Bali for a month. And so see, I would not have, even though I saw that possibly the first time in October, but I did not believe that I could actually do it until, like, you know, he had to, like, you know, encourage me, like, you know, across 2 months until I finally decided to book my ticket on Boxing Day 2017. I remember that because I was like, you know what, it's a month, I can deal with that. And I did. So that is one of the core objective of the group experience, is to really make you believe what you're capable of achieving, what your true potential is, and how to really tap into your true self, how to start peeling off those layers that you have piled on over the years from what society expects you to be, what your parents expect you to be, what your environment and all that stuff that kind of make you this big onion when you're just a little, I don't know, leek? I don't know. That was a really bad metaphor. But basically, that's a big part of it. And also really creating a safe environment and really having the support that I kind of wish. I mean, like, I was very lucky because I spent a good chunk of time in Bali, but I do realize the isolation every time I returned back to Sydney. And it wasn't until like this time, like, it took me a year and a half to actually have a good support network of people going through the same things, where, you know, I can just send them a text. I'm like, hey, am I losing my shit? Like, especially the whole spiritual awakening process and just getting to know myself and just really stepping into my new identity. Fuck, like, I legit feel like I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde every 2 days. And it's really important to have someone that gets you, because when I talk to my friends whom I knew from Sydney, they just think that I have post-holiday blues. But we know that it's more than that. And one thing that you need to realize is if you decide to pursue your dream or purpose, the road is not going to be easy. Like, if you're not ready to do the work, you're not ready to put in the time. Fuck, I have pins and needles. Oh, fuck. That's what happens. God. Sorry, guys. Anyways, back to where I was. Just lost my train of thoughts. Yeah. So, where was I? Fuck. I actually just literally lost my train of thoughts. Yeah, so if you're not ready to do the work to dive deep, no one is able to help you, because to live a life filled with purpose, like really stepping into your calling, into your truth, it's amazing, it's fulfilling, and it seriously, like, you feel like so alive every single day. Even on days that you feel shit, like you're like, oh my God, I want to give up. but then there's this fire in you that keeps you going. But it's not an easy road. Like, you have to be willing to put in, to do the work, to peel off those layers. So, you know, if you're not willing to do the work, then this experience is probably not something for you either, because to get into your soul, to get into your truth, you have to do the deep work. So that's something to think about. But other than that, but if not, you're ready to like reinvent yourself, you're ready to get into who you really are, then be sure to pop in your details on the wait list. I should probably open the enrollment probably start of next week. I just have a few things to finalize, but essentially it's 8 weeks of live group coaching experience where we help you dive into who you really are, who you think you are, who you really are. What are those things that comes up? What your beliefs are? What do you really want to create? Why you want to create? And of course, is your values reflecting the life that you want to create, or are they based on who you think you are? And you'll be surprised. A lot of us didn't know who we are, or sometimes we don't know who we are. So that is something to think about. And the bonus is something that I'm more excited about, because I'm actually get one of my good friend from Bali, Sarah, who is a breathwork facilitator in Canggu, to help complement the training with the chakras, however you call it, breathwork meditation. So, you know, every week the breathwork meditation is going to help you with the whole like process of getting deep with yourself. And you know, we all like it deep, right? Pun intended. Anyways, so that's something that I'm really excited, and the breathwork meditation is going to support and is going to accelerate the process, because, you know, we are so used to blocking out our emotions. And I went to a tantric yoga session, came out a new person because I had a massive heart chakra cleansing ceremony. I did a video on that. You can scroll through my IGTV to find it out, to check that out. But yeah, it was insane. That's why I had a heart chakra tattoo here, because it was one of the most incredible and like life-changing experience that I've had. And you will be surprised how breath work is able to pull shit out that you didn't even know exist. And I think most of us don't breathe. I don't like breathing. When I mean breathing, like proper breathing, not like the light breathing that we do. But basically, those are the exciting stuff. You can check it, more information on the page, or if you have any questions around that, send me a message, send me a DM. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And the waitlist sign-up page is over on my profile, so be sure to check it out. And before I go, here's a little challenge for you. I want you to dream tonight, like really focus on dreaming the impossible. Don't confine yourself to that little bubble. Play some high frequency tunes, play some Reiki beats. There's so many like binaural, like brainwave music. Google, YouTube or Spotify have them. If you have problem finding them, let me know, because that really helps with you getting into the headspace. So that's all for now. I really hope this has sound, because I did have someone listening, you know, responding to it. So that's all. Hope you have an amazing day. It's fucking cold and wet here, but it's okay. It's a great time to be alive. Cheers. It's kombucha. So bye. Wait, I think I'm gonna put it, how do I write it? Oh god, I'm actually trying to put a headline, but I don't know what to do. So okay, I think that's all.